People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something. And it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
Hello, everyone. Had to do the little ad there. And I got to send a message to Alexis if she can make it and come in and join us. So let me do that while y'all are coming in. Link sent. There we go. Sent that all around. Everybody's in. Credence is here. Deb Brantley, Tony, Nick. Nick said so proud of Tess. Yeah, those three she hit were huge. It's obviously it was a little bit of a holiday tournament game. Those always get interesting. And as y'all have seen from today's scores, there have been a lot of games. What are you doing? That's a kitten. The dogs are in my office. There's a kitten. There have been a lot of interesting holiday outcomes. Boys, that win over South Florida looking really, really good. South Florida was already a very, very good team. Now they have beaten Oregon and Stanford. What a start to the season for South Florida. Tennessee is 5-0, and that is what matters. And we just asked Kelly about that, given the scores that are coming in to start this season. Just take a 5-0 start and be happy with it. Are there plenty of things to work on? Absolutely. Free throws are going to be the death of everyone watching, I do believe. And there's plenty of things to clean up on both ends, but every win matters right now. And every win is literally a good win. This is so much fun. If you're a women's college basketball fan, this is a lot of fun. If you're a Tennessee fan, you've probably been having heart attacks all 5 games this season. Tony asked, was this game televised? No, it's on Flow Hoops, and it is a subscription site. You can buy monthly. You would get today's game and tomorrow, Saturday, and everything else they show, which is a lot of sports. Or you can buy annual, or you can get 1 month and cancel it just if you want the two Tennessee games. But with a lot of these holiday tournaments, the rights to the live stream are held by the promoters, the ones who are putting on the tournament. You saw that with South Florida Stanford. That was nowhere on television. Would have loved to have watched that game. And that's the case with a lot of these tournaments that are in Nevada or Mexico or the Bahamas or the Virgin Islands. There's the schools can't live stream them, and television doesn't have rights to them. So you have to go through some of these other services, such as Flow Hoops, which I did. So it's a tax write-off for me. So that's one thing. One advantage I have in that this is a side job for me, so I can make a tax write-off with having to pay for a monthly subscription. So you will see the same thing tomorrow with the 6:30 game against Oklahoma State. You can only watch it via live stream from Flow Hoops. Trina Ammon says, hey, from Tap 40. Trina, go find Alexis. Tell her to get in here. We need to see her if y'all aren't too busy. I know that if you're local and you want to see it, you can go to Tap 40 in Powell, which is run by Billy Ratliff, and Alexis Hornbuckle out there as a manager. They are streaming all of these games because you can buy the stream if you want to show it in your bar, restaurant, etc. Jessica said, extremely proud of this team thus far. In the early season, where a lot of top teams are winning, we are grinding out some good wins. Was this the first game we led the whole way? Actually, Jessica, they did not. They very briefly in the second quarter, Kansas took the lead. So they came I think Kansas led for about 90 seconds. But it is the game where it's certainly the first game where they have held the lead for a very long time, and obviously held off Kansas. Kansas was 4-0. I don't want to talk like this was ever going to be an easy win. Kansas came in here 4-0, and knows how to. They play well. They were not picked to finish well in the Big 12, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, to say the least. And I need you to get out of here. Go on there. little crazy. Okay, Sansa had to go. She's going too crazy over the kitten. She's not don't want to hurt him. She wants to play with them, but it gets very disruptive. So Glenda said, I'm too old for this at 71. The walking I do in these games is way too much there when a kitten. Yeah, pacing is good though. Glenda, it's good for your health. Pace, get yourself moving around. But yes, it is not an easy. If you're a Lady Vol fan, you're mostly just spending the time holding your breath during these games. Don't forget to breathe. I'm sorry, I'm answering this is a text. Let me answer this real quick, and I apologize. Do you need? There. Okay. Got that answered. Trina, I hope you're off to find Alexis so I can, I don't even know what that was out there. Kimberly says, hey, Maria, Jamie said, should we be concerned about 3-point shot? I mean, teams are going to hit threes. Tennessee hit some. You're going to hit threes if your offense is executing well. A couple of those threes that really got Kansas back into it came with Kelly going deep into the bench, and I think she was trying to get some minutes, which she's going to need. You have got to develop players. You don't want to leave them sitting on the bench. But I think you had a little bit of getting a little bit out of position. I wouldn't be concerned about 3-point defense because unless you're talking about hitting 3-point shots, Jamie, I just realized you may be talking about Tennessee's ability to hit threes. The free throws are a little bit concerning. I think it was 55%. And I know, as a coach, I know Kelly's not happy with that. Players aren't happy with that. I mean, I got to look that up. Let's see. Free throws. Yeah. 12 of 22, 55%. Kansas was 67%, 12 of 18. You can't leave that many points at the free throw line. You just can't. Those could separate you and you got to make those. But I will point out that the scores have been all over the place right now, and there's no team that is really just absolutely dominated. Now South Carolina has done an outstanding job. I will say that. So, but they're going to be pushed. Everybody's going to be pushed. It's going to be a fun year. It really is. Jessica said, I'm glad everyone for the most part is getting some time. It will pay off as we get into the season. And yes, free throws are very concerning. They can make them too. So it's concerning and it's not because you can fix it. It's a very fixable thing. But you got to do it in the game. You got to do it in that game to make everybody feel better about things. And I agree absolutely. You never know when you have got to get players developed, and the only way they're going to learn is to get game film and get in the game. So I'm very much an advocate of getting minutes where you can, and then as you have to, you of course narrow that rotation in a close game down the end, which is what all coaches will do. Let's see, we got turnovers were down. They were way down. Let me pull that up. 2 turnovers for Tennessee, 14. That's a very manageable number. Kansas had 15. So that is an excellent stat. Casey, was I the only one thinking Ray was going to make her glorious return tonight? Wishful thinking, I guess. Casey, I wasn't, because I've seen her at games. She is not. She's walking with a slight limp. She is not always putting full weight on that right leg. So I did not expect it at all. It's only been 2 weeks really since she got hurt when the season started. What game was that? Like November? I got to look that up. Very first game of the season. So that was November 10th. So just barely over 2 weeks. So I think she's going to need more time. How much time? I do not know. Tennessee expects her back. They do seem to expect her back, but a timetable is simply unknown because her knee has to respond to the rehab to get her back healthy and able to play. Jamie said South Florida looks like a really great win. It really does. Kelly talked about that and said she knew how good they were. Now a lot of other people are seeing that also. Denise said, I worked today, then came home and ordered from Orange Mountain Designs. Today is shipping only $1.99, any order over 30. Yeah, that continues through midnight. So you got a little under 3 hours. If you're on the East Coast, you place an order tonight on Black Friday, shopping day. You get $1.99 shipping on any order $30 or more. Obviously, there's a lot of new items. I think if you haven't been on that website in a while, you will enjoy it. Creedon said, do you think this will be a good team if we fix threes and free throws, which are fixable? Yes, I think Tennessee is already a good team. Where you want to get is better. And November games, I've never put a lot of stock in. I mean, you start to learn about yourself. You start to figure out what you need to improve on. That's a good part of November games. But come March, what happened in November just doesn't matter. Not the score, not the outcome. Every team is so different by the time you get from November to March. So I think Tennessee is a very good team, and I think Tennessee can get a lot better, Credence, if they, work on some of the things that you mentioned there: free throw defense, free throw shooting, and free throws, and just overall, every team I'm seeing right now can get better and probably will get better. Renee said, I didn't get to watch as was hosting Friendsgiving, so thank you for tweeting us the game. You're very welcome. I do tweet as fast as I can to keep people apprised of time and score and situation and what's going on. Karen said, how bad is Jordan's back? Jordan told Kelly immediately, I'm okay, as soon as Kelly went over there. And Jordan has back issues. I think everybody who's seen at a game, been at a game, or seen on TV sees her put that back thing on her when she's out of the game. So, I mean, Keegan Green said Jordan's tough. We all knew she was going to get back up and go. Are back issues problematic? Yes, for anybody. Anybody's ever had back issues knows. But there's not a single player in the country who's 100% as soon as the season starts. It's a physical game. I know a lot of folks didn't see it because it was on the pay-per-view live stream, but there was bodies all over the floor the entire game. It's just a lot of it's combat in there sometimes. It also, one thing about these arenas that are not set up for basketball, that's why you also will see some of these odd scores in the holiday tournaments, is the lines of vision are so different. The sighting is so different. I mean, I heard the broadcaster say this typically arena that Tennessee and Kansas were playing in is usually used for rodeo. So I could only imagine some of the aromas back there. And you don't have the normal sight lines you have in a regular basketball arena. And you can have, in some of those holiday tournaments, you're in a ballroom, and you've got that real low ceiling. So they're fun to watch. It's fun for fans, but don't even worry about what happens in November come March, because it will be a totally different scenario. Julie said we dominated the boards. Let's see what the boards were. Total rebounds 55-38. Yes, they did. Absolutely. And that's what you got to do. I mean, that's Tennessee basketball. Kian had an excellent quote. We talked to her immediately after the game, and she said, one stop, one score, one possession at a time. That's the mindset the team is trying to get to, no matter who's on the floor. Now, are they going to fall short of that? Yes. You sort of saw that in that second quarter when Kansas took the lead. Kind of strayed from that line of thinking that you've got to be in that moment right then. And that's a big lesson for freshmen to learn. That moment right then, when you're on the floor, that possession, that 10-second, that 15-second stretch is important. That's one of the harder lessons to I'm going to use Kian's words. She said synthesize. I asked her about the team's short turnaround Oklahoma State game, of course, tomorrow, getting ready for that. And she said the coaches do all the work. They give us a scouting report. They tell us what to be ready for. She said they're synthesizing the information right now. When Kelly sat down, she goes, I'm very honored. I'm synthesizing information so well. So, Keegan's been in college 6 years. As most people know, she's working on her PhD. So she's a very, very smart young lady and a delight to talk to. Let's see. Michael Seabook said Tess hit some threes tonight. Good to see. Yes, absolutely. Tess has range. She can shoot. And the more she can hit from the arc, the more it will open things up inside for everybody else to move around. Cheryl Ford said, in the USF game, they hit a light in the ceiling on a half-court shot due to low height. I think that was the ballroom type event, as you mentioned. I watched that game on Flow Sports. Flow Sports also is part of Flow Hoops, and they do a lot of coverage as well. Yeah, that's funny. I've never seen one hit a light in the ceiling, but I'm not surprised because if you look at that setup, you literally are in like a place where you hold a convention in a hotel, and it makes for some odd scores. Uh, so take all of these scores with a grain of salt. And if you're a Tennessee fan, enjoy the fact you're 5-0 and trying to go 6-0 tomorrow. Margot's got to hit the easy buckets. Yes, I agree. Or get yourself just a little bit more set to hit that shot, and just gather yourself for a split second. Sometimes you can rush. Sometimes you can think the defense is coming and they're not. Tamari Key's gotten much better at that this season of gathering herself for that split second and hitting that shot. Jordan Horston, of course, had the double-double with 14 points and 11 rebounds. The other double-figure scores, Key got close at 8 points and 7 rebounds. Sarah Puckett had 8 points. Kean Green finished with 11 points, as did Tess Darby with 11 points. Alexis Dye had a tough shooting night with 4 points, but she also grabbed 9 rebounds. She will get on the glass. So Tennessee will come out of that game seeing a lot of things they can get better at. And you always want to – it's always good sometimes to get better with a win. Now, I've said all along, Tennessee's going to take some hits this season. It is going to be a crazy season. I don't see anybody getting through unscathed, but particularly when the SEC gets so crazy. So it should be a fun season, and unfortunately one where you're going to be pacing a lot if you walk around during the game. Margot said, Terry has so much great stuff. I ordered 3 things myself. Good. As we mentioned at orangemountaindesigns.com, $1.99 shipping on any order over $30. If you need to stock up, it is cold here. If you live in East Tennessee, it is very cold. It's going down into the 20s. So get yourself some sweats and some warm clothing because it's that clear night. Went outside to bring the dogs in before I started the show, and it's one of those clear, cold nights where you're just glad you have a warm house to be snuggled in and be gracious this Thanksgiving for having food and housing and Lady Vol games and everything else. If you didn't see my post on Twitter, we are like $8,500 away from completely finishing the fundraiser for Nikki Anasike and Chima and the twins, to get them into a very financially stable place by the end of the year after the massive debt they accrued from having the 2 babies and having the babies be in the hospital for so long. That is on my Twitter, the GoFundMe for Nikki Anasike. If you could spare anything, $5 helps, $10 helps. I really want to see if we can do this, Lady Vol Nation and Vol Nation, and I think we can to get the family over the top and let them go into 2022 without having to worry so much about finances. If anyone's ever been in financial straits, it's very stressful. It's a very difficult thing to go through. So I appreciate everyone helping Nikki and her family. Denise said 21 is the low in Indy tonight. I think we're headed there. We're like 24, 22. I live closer to the mountains too, so it's really cold here. But I'm not complaining because I don't like hot weather. So I'm trying to see if I've missed anything. Somebody said that someone posted on Twitter that ESPN said she had a missed dunk. I don't recall that, but I was tweeting so much and looking at the game. I can watch it on the replay. I may have to go back and look. Jessica said, I think our defense and rebounding can cause major problems and already is. If we can fix small things, we could be really good. I agree. Tennessee has the potential to be very good. Karen asked, will Jordan play tomorrow? Since she came back in the game, I would assume so. She was back in the game within a minute or so. She went out for them to look at her back, and Jordan Walker took the free throws for her. She went down awkwardly on an awkward fall, and I know if any Tennessee fans were listening to the game or watching, their heart missed a beat because the awkward fall is the last thing Tennessee wants to see. Kelly said it also for a minute made her very nervous, and then she went out there and Jordan said, I'm fine. So I would expect Jordan to be back. She looked fine when she came back in. Will she be sore? Absolutely. Will she need rehab tonight? Absolutely. A lot of players are going to need treatment. That game literally was just bodies flying every which direction. So it is a contact sport. And I'm trying to see, can you elaborate on recruiting since Lex isn't on yet? Tennessee, as I said, after I think the Texas game, let me look up a name too. Tennessee, to say that Tennessee is buzzing right now, here we go. Which one are you? I think you're Harper. Yeah, here's one of the little kittens, little crazy kittens. Okay, you ready to run? Okay, there it goes. Let me go call that up. Tennessee is doing very, very well with 2023s, and a lot are paying attention. There also is a player named Montaya, Montaya. I do not want to butcher a player's name, but I haven't heard her name said due. She's a 6'2" forward out of Las Vegas, Nevada, who is on Tennessee's 2022 recruiting list, and I would have no doubt that she would have seen some Tennessee coaches on this trip because they would be able to make it I believe the timing now, they could definitely make a visit to see her. I'd have to look at I never can tell exactly where we are on the recruiting calendar, but I believe it would be very likely that she would have been able to have made contact with Tennessee on this trip. So that is a good thing. She's an outstanding player in the 2023 class. Margot said, Maria, will you be posting highlights? Margot, if I get them, I will. Those highlights have to come from Tennessee, and hopefully Tennessee will be able to send a package of those. It's a little bit hard with these holiday tournaments and staffing when you've got people scattered all over the place and so many sports going on at one time. So, but if I see some, I will definitely get them up and share them on social media. Margot said, Kelly getting us back on the recruiting map. I agree. Recruiting is so difficult to follow, so many twists and turns, but I expect Tennessee to have an absolutely outstanding 2023 class based on how they're going. And the Texas win got a lot of attention for how Tennessee can play. So, and the fans were tremendous that game. It's going to be a heck of a ride. There's a lot of good teams out there. I mean, nobody wants to see South Florida right now. Nobody, absolutely nobody wants to see South Florida on the court right now. And pretty soon, we're about a month away from conference games. I think Tennessee's first conference game is right at the end of December. And once you hit conference play, things really get wild. So I am trying to make sure I did not miss any questions. It doesn't look like Alexis is going to be able to make it. She said she would if she could. People probably having a good time. I hope they bundled up. Nobody's eating on the patio at Tap 40 tonight. Looks like I have hit everything. I should always, of course, mention the sponsors. Let me find my little list. OrangeMountainDesigns.com, of course, whom we've already talked about. The Gold Standard with Jamel Johnson, former Lady Vol soccer player. Collective Unfiltered, the show that runs on Monday with Jamel and Alexis. Just Pass It Tutoring and Alexis Hornbuckle Basketball. Tap 40 Grill, of course. And as the video we showed in the beginning, Blue Water Climate Control. If you have not had your unit serviced or looked at for the cold weather, you may want to think about doing it now, because it is cold and you're going to want as much heat as you can possibly stream into your house. And that is Sansa. If you hear the crying, because she sees a kitten. Somebody asked about fouls, but it will clean up. It was really uneven tonight. I don't think it was that uneven. I mean, Kansas got in foul trouble in a hurry to open the season. I mean, to open the game. They had a lot of foul calls to start. The officiating is what it is. It's not going to change. You're gonna see games where you don't like it. You're going to see games where it's okay, and you're going to see games where you don't even notice it. like I said, it is what it is. And there's been whole essays written about what to do with college. Sometimes it's not even better than the men's game. The SEC football, if anybody that's watched that, they got to figure out what to do about these players just falling down, faking an injury. That's a bigger issue on the football side. So I thought there were a lot. I thought more fouls could have been called on both sides. It was a very physical game, and with these holiday tournaments too, you've got so many games, and it's the holidays. You got officials scattered every which way. You got them in holiday tournaments and the island tournaments, and so now Kansas was fouling intentionally late, but they only fouled twice late, so that doesn't account for. Sometimes you can see a big spike on one side, but they quit fouling towards the very end. I think they tried it twice and then stopped. So I'm not really critical of the officiating in this game, because I think it was a physical game. And do I agree, Karen, that games can be oddly called? Yes, you're going to have some oddly called games when you've got so many going on, so many tournaments and officials spread all over the country. I've had a couple questions asking about the scout on Oklahoma State, and do we know if we match up well? It's they like low scoring games. They want to keep a game in the 50s, so you're probably going to see a more deliberate pace. They've got some size, not Tamari Key kind of size, but they can make a game out of it. They lost to Green Bay, I think, by 3 points today. Green Bay's another one of those mid-majors that can beat you. So, I mean, Tennessee obviously would go into this game as the favorite, as they're going to be now, as a top 11, top 10 team. But I don't expect a game where they just run away with it. Oklahoma State will try to keep the game in a lower scoring affair, and Tennessee obviously probably would like to pick up the pace if it could against the Cowgirls in Vegas. Also, it's back-to-back for both teams. Oklahoma State played a little bit sooner. They had the early or late afternoon game. Tennessee had the 3:30 there, so they would have actually had a noonish game. I'm on Eastern time, not Nevada time. So both teams will come in a little bit tired, and both teams will want to have a good showing before they depart from the shootout. Michael said, what time is the game? Same thing, Michael, is tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern tip-off. If you're on the East Coast, that would, of course, be a 3:30 tip-off if you are in Las Vegas. And for those of you who are Tennessee football fans, that'll line up well because I think the football game kicks at 8:45. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. Margot said we just need to make sure we hit the bunnies. I agree, Margot. I see missed bunnies at every level of basketball, men, women, WNBA, NBA. It's epidemic sometimes, but that's one thing I'll give Candace Parker. Candace Parker hit bunnies, and it's sometimes the angles of TV, it looks like a bunny, but they're further out than they think, or the angle's not as good. So Jessica said 3:30 football game. So the football game, I thought the football game was a night game. I'm losing my mind. And now I gotta look that up. Michael says, a coach, it drives me insane. I bet it drives you insane. Because it's just, I think players rush it. It's not like they can't hit them. I think they just rush it. I need to check football now, make sure I am not losing my mind. Let's see. You're right. Of course, Jessica's right. The football game is at 3:45 p.m. Well, I had that completely wrong. How did I think that was a night game? Maybe I'm thinking of another game I want to watch. Football is 3:45 p.m. on the SEC network, Eastern time tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, as I would have been. I think there's another game I really want to see. It's a night game tomorrow night. That's the only excuse I have for myself, or I'm tired and have lost my mind. So thank you, Jessica. It is a 3:45 kickoff for Tennessee Vanderbilt. Last home game of the season, senior night. Hendon Hooker, please come back. Would love to see you in Neyland Stadium for another season. So people can watch that. And since football games last at least 3 or 4 hours now, you can toggle between the two or follow me on Twitter, and I'll keep you updated on the Lady Vol Oklahoma State game, which will tip at 6:30 p.m. So it will be another relatively late night. It's 9:40 here. Jessica said Hendon is not participating in senior activity, so that gives us hope. Yes, I love watching him play. Would absolutely love to see him with a full offseason under Josh Heupel's style. Stephanie said, make the free throws, ladies. Yes, please, please. I agree with Stephanie. Free throws will separate you in a game. It will separate you in a close game. Tennessee hit the clutch free throws down the stretch against Texas, but they could have put that game away in regulation by hitting free throws, and it will come to bite you. Kelly said they practice them. They hit them under pressure. They set up different situations. If you're a player, it's something really because of the limited practice time that you have and the NCAA limits on court time. I mean, that's something you just have to get in the gym and do on your own. And once these games starts and class is going on, I mean, class is in next week, then they roll right into exams. Players have a whole lot on their plate right now with college in the fall semester, especially the freshmen. There's a lot going on. We always say, we'll get in the gym and take extra shots. Well, sometimes your day is absolutely full from beginning to end. And I always worry about basketball players, athletes of any kind, really not getting enough sleep because their days are stretched incredibly so. But yes, free throws, please make them. Took care of the ball tonight, as people said, rebounded well, hit shots when they had to. Kian Green just had a fantastic game. She was aggressive. She got to the basket. She did what she needed to do. Tess Darby, we've talked about her. The freshman that played came in and gave some good minutes, got some film to watch with them. Sarah Puckett continues to show a very high understanding of basketball. She has just been coached tremendously well. She understands the game in a way that she's learned it over time. But I think all four of these freshmen are going to be able to contribute, and they are contributing, and Kelly's going to find minutes for all of them as much as she can. Michael said, do you think we hit top 20 with the win tomorrow? I would think so, but I mean, the polls, you never know with polls, and it's not easy to be a poll voter, and some take it very seriously, and some I'm not so sure when they're turning in their numbers if they've really looked at all the outcomes. But I know, so I believe so. But fortunately, this is the best thing about college basketball. These polls mean nothing. Zip. NCAA doesn't use them for brackets. The NCAA has their own net that they use, and the NCAA keeps their own formula of how they seed teams. The AP nor the coaches poll mean a single thing in terms of seeding in the NCAA tournament, unlike football or anything else. So that is, enjoy them. Enjoy the bracketology where they do the mock brackets all season. Enjoy the polls. Just know they mean absolutely nothing. Stephanie asked, is Caroline injured? No, she's not injured. She played tonight. It's just you got a lot of upperclassmen in front of you, and there's only so many minutes to go around. I think Caroline will be another one of those players that you will see improve over the course of the season. Glenda Hoover said, my nephew is assistant coach for Puckett. He's already calling me bragging. That's awesome. She has been coached very, very well. That is a special young lady in terms of how much she knows the game. Now my cat is trying to, what are you trying to do? You're just going to, you almost closed us out of here. Dwayne Kipp said, starting to see Kian Green. I thought we would. She can be explosive to the rim when she makes up her mind to go. Yes. And Kian is easing her way. I mean, she had ACL surgery earlier this year. That is a tough surgery to heal from. So I think you will see that, Dwayne, as she gets more comfortable in the court and more back into basketball flow, that you will see that the Kian who can be very aggressive and very tough in the paint. Tanya is keeping me up on the Tar Heel, North Carolina, NC State football game. As everyone knows, I am a Tar Heel. So I'm keeping an eye on that score. Credence said Sarah Bucket. Sarah Puckett. That is her nickname, is Sarah Bucket. She's a player with a bright future, clearly. I think I have gotten everything. I got to go write a full story. I got a little quick take up on there already. I'll write a full story, transcribe the videos with Kelly and Kian, and get those onto YouTube. So thank you everyone for coming tonight, staying up late on a Friday night. Appreciate it. We will do this again tomorrow night. I'll get in here about this same time. I think I was in here a little bit after 9 as soon as I get done with the Zooms. The one thing I will credit this pandemic for is giving us the capability that we had to have to do pressers with Coach Harper and the player, or at least one player, after the game on the road. That has made coverage a whole lot easier when you're trying to cover it from home, is that we can now talk directly to Kelly via the magic of Zoom. So that was one good thing, and there's not much that came out of this pandemic, was the setup of us being able, local media being able to talk to the head coach on the road with the wonders of technology. Y'all have a very safe and warm Friday night. Enjoy the football game at 3:30, 3:45 kickoff tomorrow. Ignore my earlier time. I'll figure out what it was I was intending to watch. Michael said, will you post-game interviews tonight? I will. I've got them downloaded off of the Zoom interview, and I'm going to put them up on YouTube right now. I will make sure they get onto Twitter. So if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel too, it's in my name. I think several people have done that. I think you get a notification when I put one up. So I will get those up as quickly as I can. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for coming. As always, please support Nikki Anna CK and her family. That is also on my Twitter if you can, in this season of giving and thankfulness. She sent me the sweetest text today saying how thankful she was for Lady Vol Nation. I don't know I better go find out what's going on in my house. There's just an absolute ruckus going out there. So appreciate y'all coming. Peace. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.